354 videos. And we're back. And today we're going to be installing the new Quick Run Fusion 8 and the new transmission motor plate. I haven't seen anybody install one of these. It's pretty cool. It comes with all the optional plates in order to adjust the pinion gears. Pretty neat little setup. Nothing better than an aluminum motor plate. So we're just going to throw that in there. Should be a pretty easy install. To get the main frame off, I think we only have to undo 8 screws, 2 down here, and the skid plate on each side, and the 2 top shock mounts. And we will find out more in this video if we need. Neat little tidbit that I was just looking up. Of course, I've had Axials. I have an SCX10 Pro that's right above us here. Kit that I built. I didn't put any of that on the channel. That was back when I was just getting into more of the crawling stuff, and to be honest with you, didn't feel like I knew enough about it. I've had Wraith, and I've had a few different videos, shorts, of some driving videos of some Axial vehicles that I've done, that's been brand new out of the box, that I've done long form videos on. Yeah, most of those videos are 95% long form, not shorts, and I have no long form videos that I could find, and that's pretty an interesting tidbit. That the Hilamon is going to be the first one that I'm going to actually do a series of videos about. So yeah. Anyway, let's get started on replacing this motor. Okay, it looks like we got one servo wire for the rear ASD that's like routed through the cage, so we're gonna clip a zip tie here, pull that around. We're going to connect that differently, and then now we just need to disconnect this wire. So this is for the lights, and then the whole cage is off. Actually pretty easy. We need to go ahead and get the ESC out, clip some wires here, or some wires, clip the zip tie, open this up, go ahead and disconnect the motor. There's the ESC. Pretty simple little rig. This is what comes stock. So this is the Spektrum IXSR 1070. So it's a 70 amp brushed ESC, 2 to 3S LiPo input, 12 turn motor limit, forward and reverse. So that'll go, I don't know. Now we just got to figure out which screws to undo to get this transmission out. Guess we'll just start pulling a few screws and see what happens here. We'll do the screws more in the center of the belly and see if that'll release it. I'm thinking it's these 4. Two more over here. There we go. You're going to want to unhook both servos for now. Probably the easiest axial I've ever worked on. Like I said, I haven't had a lot on the channel, but I've had some. Getting quite a few right now. Okay, so there's the transmission. A little bit of an exposed. Nice and shiny. You can tell it's not made out of the most top quality aluminum. There's our little plates. So let's go ahead and see how this comes out of here. That screw already feels like it was like stripped out. And I'm going to say it was. You can see there's a lot of plastic on those threads. Not a good sign. "14-tooth pinion gears." What's in here now? I think we're going to change that. Actually, no, we're going to change it. Actually, we don't need to remove any of that. Okay, so we know that the stock pinion gears are 14. That's for a brushed. We're doing a 2300 brushless. So technically the 14 would probably still work. But I know I do not have a 14 tooth. I know that I do not have a 14 tooth pinion gear. So we have with this optional motor plate, we have the options to change. So I am hoping we have like a 16 in here. And it needs to be on a 5mm shaft, because the new motor has a 5mm shaft. So there's an 18, which is a huge gear. I don't want to go that high, but we could. Aha, there's a 16, 5mm. The biggest thing we need to do, I think, is take our calipers. So 9.4mm to the end of the pinion gear. Okay, so there's the motor plate, and the 14 tooth is at the top. So if we're going to do this, we want to find the 16. So there's 16 and 12. You can see those. That would indicate to me the way to do this is you pop this unit in there. Looks like we just want the wires to be up in this direction. This motor needs to be rotated one more section so that the wires come out the side here. Won't have any chassis interference. Okay, let's explain this. So you see there's a 12 and a 16. Each plate has two numbers on it for two different size pinion gears. This one will fit a 12 tooth or a 16 tooth. You see the 16 is on the bottom. So the best way I can say that that's working just by looking at it is that when you put the motor plate on, you slide the motor plate, because it is slotted, all the way up so that the bolts are towards the bottom of the holes, and that will fit the 16 tooth pinion gear. So that's what we're going to do here. Don't forget a little bit of Loctite on your screws. Okay, we got them installed, slid all the way down to the bottom of the slots, so that should be for a 16 tooth. Again, I've never done this before, but I'm pretty sure that's how this is working, just judging by the way I tore it apart. I'm just going to hope that the mesh is right, because you can't see nothing. Probably should Loctite this screw. So this screw goes into the metal, into the aluminum motor plate. Okay, I ran a longer screw into this bolt area here because the original screw was shorter and had already stripped out the plastic. And this one we Loctited it. I don't need to tighten that down too much. There we go, aluminum motor plate all mounted in. So now we can put the transmission back in. Hopefully we got these wires running the correct direction. Logan at West Desert Wheeler said there's two dots. Line up the dots like that, and then you're in phase. The last two screws actually go into the metal, into the aluminum skid plate. Just going to put a little bit of Loctite on there. We don't want to overdo it. So if we need to take them out, it isn't a problem. But this steering. And we have everything installed. Now we ran into a couple issues that I had to kind of diagnose while not filming. The gear that I put in was extremely noisy. Couldn't figure out why. I checked clearances, meshed the best I could because you can't see it, and came to the conclusion that that gear is probably just not the right cut for the axial gears that are in here. So I switched. Found a 14 that would fit the 5mm motor shaft, put it in here. Everything runs nice and smooth now. I will show you the noise that it was making earlier. You can hear that grinding and like there's rocks in there. It was quite crazy. It didn't feel like it was bound up, just the gears didn't seem to be lining quite correctly. So I put a 14 tooth back in here. And we're just guessing on the 14, 16 without running it. We got everything set up on the IXSR. I actually really do love this radio. The only thing I'd say about this radio is because it's so expensive, I dread taking it out every time because I'm afraid to like drop it or scratch it, or so it's when I have my cheaper radios, I don't really care if I set it in the dirt. This one, definitely, but I mean the feel of this radio is awesome. But anyway, we got that set up. Pretty quiet. I mean, for a all Metal Gear transmission, not too bad. You can see how slow that motor moves. And that's the installation. The only thing I would say that I do need to make one more adjustment, and I'm going to mention it to you guys right now, I'll even show you, is we need to rotate the motor a little bit more. If you can see, the wires are coming out of the top here. With the 16 tooth bolted back together, it didn't rub because the motor was moved down just enough that it wasn't that bad. But with the 14 tooth, it's pushed up into the chassis. So we need to rotate this motor a little bit more and get the wires over here. So if you're installing this, going to do 14, 15, maybe even 16, rotate that motor a little bit more to get it clean. I did get it back together. I don't think it's like going to cause a problem, but it is kind of smashed in there a little bit. And then one thing I'm noticing is this rear. This rear cutting brake servo keeps getting like fire hot. So I've got to set the endpoints and stuff, but I cannot figure out why it's getting so hot. I almost wonder if it's faulty. It's still functioning. Made sure the BEC isn't up too much. Anyway, guys, hope you liked this video. This was just a sort of quick video of how to install the new aluminum motor plate with the Fusion 8 installed in the Hilamon. And that's pretty much it on this one. The next video, we're going to do the 4-wheel steer. So we're going to do links, 4-wheel axle, and get that installed. That's the next one that we're going to do. That one should be pretty straightforward also. I do not think that working on this motor is difficult. For a crawler, it's actually pretty easy to get into for a caged crawler. Not too bad to change the gear mesh and stuff. I mean, they can be worse. I'm sure they could be better. Not too bad to work on. Anyway, guys, hope you liked this video. Please like, subscribe, and share. And always shop at your local hobby shop. That's where I buy my parts. Thank you.